Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Welcome to our live stream. We have a busy lineup today with announcements for Path of Exile 2, as well as the exclusive reveal of Path of Exile Necropolis, which launches on March 29th. For the first time ever, we'll be releasing this expansion simultaneously on all platforms, PC, Mac, and console. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so make sure you follow the instructions below and claim your suffering back at
Propojte si účty, pokud nemáte.
Today's stream will start with Path of Exile 2, where Jonathan will show you our latest announcements. Mark will then take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Necropolis Challenge League, which launches in 1 week. He'll cover the league mechanics, its deep crafting system, large
endgame changes,
some improvements to the core Path of Exile,
large endgame changes. Oh,
life features.
Ooh,
We'll then show you our new supporter packs, and we'll head into a live Q&A session where ZiggyD will ask us your questions from Twitch chat. After the live stream, we'll drop the full patch notes.
Hey guys, it's time to chat about PoE 2 again. It's only been a few months since we talked about the Mercenary, and yet even since then a huge amount has changed. When we announced the Mercenary, we also showed off a lot of the new capabilities that our engine has around animation and character control. Moving while shooting was a huge deal in that class, but there were a lot of other more subtle things going on to make it feel good too. Well, in recent times we've only been showing off new character classes, but one thing I've been really excited about is to go back and apply all the new ideas and capabilities that we have to our old classes too. Today I'd like to show off the Ranger, and I hope that you guys like what you see.
Prior gameplay změnil trochu i combat feel, okay. To bylo hlasité.
I've lived in this forest all my life.
Ranger gameplay, let's go.
And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that a ranger must never miss. A beast will hunt you, but it is the cruelty of man I fear.
Všimáte si, že mají prakticky cinematiky. Path of Exile.
Your sentence is to be hanged from the neck until dead. Let your souls feed the first ones, and your bodies feed the land. After her!
Fury! This exile has changed me. No more running. No more fear.
You won't get away this time.
I will put an end to this madness.
Bože, to vypadá tak dobře.
Let this be a warning, Gianor.
Tornado shot kde? Jela na Montovi, vypadalo to, no. No. Okay.
When we started to work on the Ranger, we knew we had to make a class with high agility. The dream of fast bow gameplay is Legolas, so that's what we wanted to deliver. The starting point is moving while shooting a bow. Any kind of basic arrow skill can be fired while moving, with a movement.
Tohle je fajn. Se budeš moc hejbat a
This immediately gives you a lot more freedom on the battlefield. Here, I'm starting each battle with a poison burst arrow to poison groups of enemies, then using a lightning arrow to arc lightning around larger packs. For even more mobility, we also have a variety of skills that involve vaulting around the battlefield too. This is Frost Escape. Using it jumps backwards and shoots a freezing arrow at the ground. Really useful if monsters close on you and you need to get away. Once you've landed, if monsters were frozen, it'd be nice to have some way to take advantage of that extra time. This is where Snipe comes in. Snipe is a skill shot that you need to charge up and release at exactly the right time. If you land the right timing, Snipe is guaranteed to produce a critical strike, and does a small AoE as well, so it's a great finisher.
Nice.
You can also move while shooting arrow rain skills too. This skill is Lightning Rod. It shoots an arrow into the air that sticks into the ground and does a small AoE. Once the rods are in the ground, though, they attract any arcs of lightning that are nearby, causing them to explode again. This means you can stack up a bunch of lightning rods on the ground and bounce lightning between them, doing way more damage.
Rotace spelu, na to hodně cílí PoE 2.
For bigger enemies, I'd like to have something that's going to enhance my damage output too. This skill is Stormcaller Arrow. Using it sticks an arrow into an enemy. After a short period of time, a lightning bolt comes from the sky and strikes them. This has a high chance to shock them, and shocked enemies take 30% more damage from all sources. If something big walks along, it's a good idea to throw one of these at them first to enhance your damage before following up with the other combo. Now, if I really want to enhance this combo, there are a couple of things I could do using our support gem system. Skills in Path of Exile are granted by items called skill gems. Each skill gem has coloured sockets in it, and these sockets are for other items called support gems. Support gems modify your skills, and it's where a huge amount of the customization of your character comes from. First, I'm going to take this multiple projectile support gem. I could add it to my lightning arrow, and it would fire multiple arrows. This would increase the number of targets I can hit, but that isn't the effect that I'm after. If I add it to my lightning rod skill instead, then when I fire it, I get a nice group of rods. This means that I don't have to spend as much time setting up before I can use it with my lightning arrow combo.
Hralcování. Ale
I might
myslím si,
also
že to
add
bude
faster
trošku
projectiles to make the lightning
jiný,
rods
než
land
to budeme
faster
hrát my.
too. Now next up I'm going to grab this chain support gem. Chaining causes many effects to repeat on new targets when you hit them. If I add it to my lightning arrow, it will cause the arcs that come out of lightning arrow to strike even more targets, rippling along my line of lightning rods for huge amounts of damage.
No bože, ten chain na tomhle vypadá tak dobře. To už se blíží tomu gameplay PoE 1, actually. Už tady je vidět to, že oni hodně těch věcí ukazují bez těch supportů a bez dobrých věcí.
I'm going to chuck less duration on here. This will cause the lightning from the sky
k tomu pustí hráče, jak to bude vypadat dost jinak.
Next up we have a support called shock proliferation. This support makes it so that any enemies shocked by the skill will also have the shock jump to nearby enemies, meaning they'll take the extra damage as well. It's just a chance to proc, so it's not going to proc on every single pack, but when it does, a pack will go down ultra quick. Another useful empowering skill is Barrage. Barrage is one of the rare cooldown skills in PoE 2. It enhances whatever your next attack is to fire 3 times. With what we have here, I think it might be a good idea to use it with Lightning Arrow. It'll generate 3 times as many lightning explosions. You could also use it at just the right moment with Snipe, or any number of other skills depending on what effect you need more of right now. It's very versatile and can be used in a range of situations.
to měl poison? Ano, vypadalo to tak.
Now, even as mobile as the Ranger is, it's still very useful to slow monsters down, and a Ranger certainly has quite a few tools to do this. If you're prepared to get up close and personal, we have a skill called Electrocuting Rod. First, jump over the enemy and shoot it into them. Once the rod's in place, any lightning damage they take will build up a special electrocute gauge. Once the gauge is full, the monster is totally suppressed, allowing you to kill them easily. Now, sometimes when you use Electrocuting Rod, the enemy dies before you get a chance to electrocute them. I think there's another support gem I could add to my lightning arrow to fix this problem. Neural Overload will make it easier to electrocute enemies. If the skill it's attached to puts them over 50% of their electrocute bar, it will trigger instantly.
To možná škoda, že nevidíte ten HP bar, já si dám kameru sem. Typek tam. Málo potvaroval za to tuhý a teď jich bylo dost a jsou tuší určitě.
But I'd like to improve my crowd control ability for groups as well. I'm going to add a support called Frozen Nexus to my Frost Escape. This makes an area of chilled ground around frozen enemies. I'll also add Deep Freeze to it as well, which will make the freezes last a bit longer. Now when I use my Frost Escape on that front enemy, others nearby are slowed down. It would also be good if I had a way to slow enemies down when they're farther away from me as well. So this would be a great time to start getting into the Ranger's poison and plant-based skill set. To start with, let's have a look at Vine Arrow. This skill fires an arrow into the air that creates a small plant where it lands. The plant sends out tendrils to nearby enemies, slowing them down and poisoning them.
Takový hezčí toxic ring.
Another function too. If the plant gets further poisoned, it transfers that poison to the monsters it's attached to. Normally you would only be able to get one stack of poison on a monster at a time, but you can put as much poison as you want on this plant. You could just use the plant to slow monsters down and not worry about the poison part. But if you want to go all in on poison, this is the way to do it. Now if you do want to focus on poisons more, another useful skill is Poison Bloom Arrow. This skill creates these plant pustules on the ground. If you wait a little while, they'll explode. Just like any other plant skill, these plants respond well to poison. Shoot the poison burst arrow at enemies nearby and watch your plants grow more and more
powerful. To je tak dobrý, jak mají ty kombíčka vymyšlený.
Causes them to do much more damage and makes them explode much faster as well. I can also
nebude tak vizuální bordel, to je taky cíl.
Doing this will mean I get multiple poison bursts as it goes through each monster.
Ta postava střílí a i tak je vidět textura postavy, kde zoom.
We also have another skill to make a nice environment for your plants to grow. Gas Cloud Arrow. This skill shoots the ground and creates a cloud of gas that continuously poisons things inside it. Throw your plants down, then put a gas cloud on top. The constant poisoning will make them grow.
Můžu plynovat, teda. Rozmysli si další slova, dávo.
Another poison-related skill we have on the Ranger is called Plague Bearer. This is a reservation skill, meaning it uses spirit. When I enable it, I get this counter that counts up whenever I apply poison to a monster. You can see the counter on the skill increasing as each new monster is poisoned. Now I'm going to fight these monsters and make sure to poison them as much as I can to build up the counter.
Okay. Předělaný Plague Bearer z jedničky prakticky trošku.
It does take quite a while to get the counter up to 100%, but it's worth it. Whenever I choose, I can unleash the poison in a big explosion around my character, dealing a large amount of damage.
Okay.
Now next up we have a classic, Rain of Arrows. It's simple. Shoot a bunch of arrows in the sky and they rain down for a short time. It's decent AoE and damage at long range.
Asi mě vadí, že ty šípy z toho Rain of Arrows jako nejsou
Now this skill doesn't last too long, but we can change that. It's time to introduce frenzy charges.
Částečně je to dobrý,
frenzy charges are used for a variety of skills on the Ranger, but with Rain of Arrows they can be used to extend the duration.
Ale vadí mi, že nevidím ten skill pořádně.
Here we have a skill called Sniper's Mark. Put it on an enemy and it will grant you a frenzy charge when you crit them. Now remember that snipe skill from earlier? That skill guarantees a critical hit. So first we Sniper's Marked an enemy, then we sniped them. And after that, the next Rain of Arrows will last a really, really long time. We still have some weaknesses though. While Rain of Arrows hits enemies with a ton of arrows, each one doesn't do much damage individually. It would be nice if we had a way to break the armor on enemies so that Rain of Arrows dealt more damage. Thankfully, we have this Corrode Armor support gem, and we can put it on our gas cloud. Corrode Armor causes poison to erode the armor on targets until it's all gone. This will significantly increase the damage that Rain of Arrows does against armored targets. Oh yeah, and one more thing about gas clouds. They can be detonated with explosions. I have an explosive arrow here. Let's check it out.
Okay. Okay.
Now, because monsters and gas clouds are likely to have their armor broken, I think there's another useful combo we can do. This is an exploit weakness support. This support provides extra bonus damage to targets that have their armor broken. Perfect for what we have going on here.
To je cool, už jen to, že to v té vůbec je true. Já se za 2070 ty nároky budou jako určitě vyšší než po jedničce počítat s tím. A 1070 by mohla být.
Let's see how
asi
well they do against a much tougher enemy.
Skoro možná na minimum.
Thanos.
Let's go. Boss. Jmenuje se ten boss Thanos? Rozuměl jsem správně? Thanos, ok. Už jsem se like. OK, už teď je tenhle boss jedinej lepší než všichni ostatní bossové v jedničce. Ty bossové se jim docela jako vedou dobře, si myslím. Vypadá tak dobře. Není těžký. Myslím si, že jakmile se jako naučíš u většiny těch bossů mechaniky, jak to bude v pohodě. Ale vypadá to strašně dobře. Umět fáze u 100 bossů bude pain? To je to. Na to se učíme, když budou mrtví během 10 vteřin? Já doufám, že nebudou.
That's the Ranger. But oh yeah, there was one more thing. The mount. Check this out.
The mount.
Yes, you can ride a rower. While riding the rower, you can shoot arrows with no movement penalty. It's pretty overpowered. You can also use your bolting skills to jump right off the rower's back. Once the rower doesn't have a rider, it starts attacking monsters, so he's nice to have around, even if you're not riding him. That said, if you are riding, don't get hit. If you take a heavy stun while on a rower, you'll fall off, and it takes a while to get up, so be careful.
Myslím, že takhle měli vypadat mounty v Diablo 4.
Now, there is just one more rather unfortunate bit of news. Path of Exile 2's beta is going to be delayed. We previously said that we would get the beta out on June 7th. And while I think we would be able to get the game's content ready in time, we underestimated how long it would take to get gameplay polished to a standard that we're happy with. We're still going to be doing alpha testing in June, but we're going to be delaying the beta until later in the year. I don't have an exact date for you today, but it should be towards the end of the year. In the meantime, you can still play Path of Exile 1, of course. Now, speaking of PoE 1, we also have the 324 expansion.
Asi v pohodě, to klidně bodá
kousek. Hand over to Mark, the game director on PoE 1, to show us what's in store.
Okay, tak hurá na PoE 1.
So let's just get straight into it with the trailer for Path of Exile Necropolis.
Let's go.
Cold flesh, dirt, maggots, and ghosts. Our job is to keep them where they belong. It's your first night, so you'll need this. A ghostly lantern for ghastly tinkering.
Školník s bradami.
You'll learn to peer into the souls of the dead. You'll learn how to twist them. Meet me in the Necropolis.
Budeš prostě vykopávat hroby, vole.
Shiny things from a corpse.
No tak, okej, zakopávat očividně. Metamorph 2.0.
From a soul. I need a grave digger.
Okay. No konečně víc pasiv, který na... bože, pro boha, díky.
The job's hard, but the pay's good.
Jako Graveyard Keeper jsem si chtěl zahrát, not gonna lie. Jo, no. Co je penultimate boss?
You will encounter Undertaker Aramor, a man collecting the scattered spirits of the Eternal Empire for a mysterious purpose.
Ten soundtrack.
These spirits have begun to haunt the monsters of Rayclast, unleashing their ancient fury and sorrow onto the world. The Undertaker will provide you with the Lantern of Aramor, a powerful family heirloom which can illuminate the wrathful spirits haunting monsters throughout Rayclast. With it, the Undertaker hopes to employ you to rid Rayclast of this menace, and further his cryptic cause. The lantern can be used when entering any new area. When peering through it, you can examine the spirits haunting that area. The lantern also allows you to manipulate them, letting you configure which monsters are affected by which mods. It would be wise to take your time with your decisions here, for the spirits are not forgiving. When peering through the lantern, you can also see extra details about the packs of monsters in the area. Rowers here are considered common, whereas the water elementals are more scarce.
Budeš ovlivňovat jednotlivý typy monster v
you can put the more difficult spirits on the elementals, which you'll encounter less often. We've tried to make sure that by engaging with the lantern, you are able to intelligently control the difficulty in the Necropolis League. The spirits come in a number of forms which represent the danger they pose. For example here, the infested vultures are servant haunted, causing them to deal a small amount of increased damage. But the Vol's Vanguard are noble haunted, causing them to deal a large amount of increased damage. As you reach higher level areas in Rayclast, the tier and number of spirits that are haunting
Všimáte si, jak vypadají ty postavy? Jaký mají na sobě MTXka?
Your game knowledge can help you here. If you're aware of the composition of a monster pack, this means certain mods will be easier to manage. For example, the mod that increases a pack's damage for every monster killed has no effect on packs with a single monster, like a Devourer. However, if we found a spirit that makes the strongest monster in a pack deal 100% more damage, well, I'm going to avoid the Devourer. You might have noticed that the Lantern of Aramor provides other useful information, such as the types of abilities monsters use, or the damage types they deal. So for those who are less familiar with how these monsters work, this can be a great way to learn what you're up against.
Se díky tomu můžeš podívat, co monstrum má za damage a podobně.
So if you are finding a campaign area too difficult, you can just wait a few minutes and peer through the lantern again to see what's changed. Of course, powerful spirits beget powerful rewards. There are two reasons why you might want to face a challenge now and then. Firstly, not all the spirits are malicious. Sometimes the monsters aren't haunted at all, but are instead devoted. These can grant basic rewards like increased experience, or bigger rewards like spawning the Nameless Seer, an NPC that will grant you a single unique item after you defeat all of the packs affected by that spirit.
Nameless Seer back.
The more haunted monsters you defeat in the previous area before using the lantern, the more likely the devoted monsters will appear in the next area. Monsters haunted by higher tier spirits will increase the chance of the devoted appearing even more, meaning that sometimes it's worth putting the hardest modifier possible on very common monsters, if you're brave enough. Again, we've tried hard here to allow players to customize the danger and rewards as much as they can. Aramor is an Undertaker, and you can probably guess what we're taking to him. The second main reward from the Necropolis League is monsters with unresolved anguish. Once slain, their corpses need extra care from the Undertaker, and he will offer to take them back to his necropolis and store them in the morgue. Time to earn your keep. When you are ready, you can visit the morgue to view the monsters you have collected, and then get to work burying them in one of many graves in Aramor's cemetery. For example, we will bury this Katava's Herald. Aramor's mysterious soul experiments can coalesce powerful items. Here I've chosen to create a pair of boots.
Of Lunaris, heal your pains and aid this soldier, so that you may grace them with fleetness.
Znám ten hlas toho týpka, který ho dabuje a nemůžu si uvědomit odkud.
And this is where the Necropolis crafting system really shines. You'll have noticed that the corpse we collected earlier had a crafting effect on it. In fact, all collected corpses do. If you bury multiple corpses in the cemetery, all adjacent corpses can be exercised at once to create one item.
Tohle je kombinace Harvestu, Bestiary a Tormentu.
This allows you to have either one or many different crafting projects ongoing in the cemetery. For example, next time I try to create boots, I could bury corpses that increase the chance of getting move speed modifiers. To go further, I could use these to generate higher tier modifiers. Then, I could try to bias it towards being an evasion pair with this. Finally, I'll apply some crafting effects that improve the probability of getting good rolls. Now, let's craft the item and see what we get.
Zmrtvol. Myslím, že na to lidi budou nadávat, že to je moc klikání a moc micromanagementu. Ale...
As you can see now, we have a much better pair of boots, forged from the souls of our enemies. You could even use the entire cemetery to craft one item.
Moc micromanagementu.
There is always something you can do to try and ensure your item will be as best as it can be. We hope to see some really crazy grave crafts. If you are lucky, you might find corpses with meta crafting modifiers. These can be buried to manipulate your crafting projects in more drastic ways. This one increases the potency of all crafting effects of adjacent undead corpses. Another meta crafting modifier gives a chance to drop an extra item from your craft, with all the same crafting outcomes applied. All you have to do is bury a lot of undead monsters.
Reálně 90% hráčů nebude do toho hřbitova chodit a craftit. Já zase nechápu, jak to funguje, no, to je to, no.
You can also craft new unique items exclusive to the Necropolis League using this system. As you explore Rayclast, you might find the corpses of famous Eternal Empire families. And when you bury an entire family together and exorcise them, they will thank you with a unique specific to their lineage.
Ten pod tím, pod tornádem.
For example, the Navalius Inheritance Belt. I'll give you a moment to check that out. You can use other corpses alongside them to grant implicit mods, manipulate the values of explicit mods, and more.
Okay,
in this case, with the Miranda's Pact, you can even change the modifiers it generates. This unique is a jewel which adds extra stats to passive skills in a radius when socketed into the passive skill tree. The stats it adds are randomly generated, but you can bias it towards a specific type by using other crafting effects, such as this one, which increases the chance of getting life modifiers. Let's see what we get. Damn, we didn't get it this time. I guess we're gonna have to go and collect more corpses. Of course, you can trade the corpses away to other players. All you need to do is purchase empty coffins from the Undertaker and use them on your corpses in the morgue, which will itemize them.
Easy.
Another item in the Necropolis League that you can find are Embers of the Allflame. These are monster spirits that remain living in the Allflame, a powerful ancient artifact of Rayclast. And you can set them free by placing them in the Lantern of Aramor and defeating them. These embers drop throughout Rayclast as itemized packs of monsters. You are able to use these packs to replace the packs in areas. For example, we have found this Allflame Ember of Tarfor. We can now go to enter the next area and replace one of the monster packs in here. You can see we have also gotten one of the devoted modifiers to appear. We can pair up the Karui ancestors with this modifier, making them even more rewarding. Let's go ahead and replace the tentacle miscreations. However, when replacing packs, you want to double check their density, as the new pack will inherit the density of the replaced pack. The Karui ancestors we have now added to our area can even drop basic variations of tattoos. If you aren't aware, this is an item type from the Trial of the Ancestors League, which can be used on passive skills to change what they do.
Nice.
There are many different types of itemized packs. You can find Breach and Legion monsters that drop splinters, Untainted packs that provide insane amounts of experience, and even simple frogs, which can be used to replace difficult monsters to make life easier. And of course, these Ember monsters can be raised as specters too.
Nice.
Finally, Let's discuss how this league works in in-game maps. Each in-game map will allow you to manipulate it using the lantern on the map device UI. However, instead of randomly cycling every few minutes, it is fixed to that map. Once you view the map through the lantern, you cannot remove it from the map device, so you can't trade that map away now that you've seen it is too difficult for you, or has monsters in it that you'd rather avoid, like porcupines. We're also trying something new this time around. During the Necropolis League, there will be support for the League on the Atlas passive tree. Multiple clusters will be there, allowing you to enhance the gameplay, customize it, and even change its behavior in meaningful ways. One way that you can change the crafting in a meaningful way is with the Prospero's Wager Keystone. With this keystone, all the monsters with unresolved anguish come with this crafting modifier, which causes them to generate a random craft when buried. This means instead of pre-planning your crafts, you have to adapt to them on the fly to get the best results. These clusters will not be available in Standard League. In 3.24, we've made a plethora of changes to the endgame. We're introducing new bosses, adding another tier of maps, and streamlining the Atlas. The most difficult and most rewarding content in Path of Exile can be found in Uber Pinnacle bosses, such as the Maven and the Searing Exarch. Currently, the only way to access these bosses is by allocating specific keystones on the Atlas passive tree. While this system offers a nice element of control, it causes a problem. Rewards and access to the non-Uber variants are now economically priced around the rewards of the Uber fights. This means it is wasteful to run the non-Uber variants instead of simply selling them. Another problem that we noticed is the difficulty jump between the Pinnacle and Uber Pinnacle content was relatively large, and there wasn't obvious content that could bridge this gap. Many players would give up on their characters before being able to defeat the Uber Pinnacle bosses. In 3.24, we will be making some changes to this. We are removing the keystones that give access to the Uber Pinnacle bosses from the Atlas tree, and instead we'll be adding a new set of fragments that give you access to this content. Where do you get these fragments? We are adding a new tier of maps, Tier 17 maps, which not only give you access to the Uber Pinnacle content, but also test your characters in new ways. They feature a new set of bosses, Uber monsters, and a new tier of modifiers that can roll on the maps. There are 5 new Tier 17 maps in total, with some surprising boss fights at the end. We'll look at a couple today, and the rest you'll have to discover for yourself. First, we have the Citadel map. This map contains an ancient Kalguran citadel. You will encounter many expedition monsters as the signature packs throughout the map. At the end, you will fight Uber Uhtred. This is a version of a boss from Expedition League, with all its abilities and mechanics enhanced. Uber Uhtred will even be able to summon 2 other expedition bosses to aid it during the fight.
Expedition bossové jsou tak cool, ale nikdy je nedělám, protože nehraju expedici moc.
This map is an impregnable fortress, guarded by monsters from the Heist League. At the end, you will encounter an Uber version of the Unbreakable. Again,
Heist bossové jsou taky fajn, ale nikdy je neběhám, protože nevyhraju Heist, takže tohle je výborný.
Tier 17 map bosses has a chance to drop a unique item, allowing for some target farming. However, these aren't entirely new unique items. Instead, we've taken other unique items, removing them from the core drop pool and rebalancing them to fit here. One example is this reworked version of Wraithlord. It has 4 Abyss sockets, and allows you to summon an additional Spectre for each Ghastly Eye Jewel socketed into it. Another example is Mana Storm. This has been rebalanced to grant a lot more damage than before, alongside some more impactful mana stats, if you can get lucky rolls. Alongside adding Tier 17 maps, we have also changed the Uber Pinnacle bosses to have completely distinct unique item drop pools from their non-Uber counterparts.
Výborně, Uber bossové budou mít zvláštní drop pooly. Výborně.
Let's take a look at the Shaper versus the Uber Shaper. The Shaper will drop these uniques: Voidwalker, Shaper's Touch, Solstice Vigil, and Dying Sun. Whereas the Uber Shaper will drop these: Echoes of Creation, Sublime Vision, Entropic Devastation, Starforge, and a new unique belt called the Tides of Time. Another example of a new unique is this helmet from the Uber Eater of Worlds, Ravenous Passion. And these gloves from the Uber-Searing Exarch, the Celestial Brace. Each of the Uber Pinnacle bosses has a new unique added to their drop pools. We've identified another major problem with the endgame we'd like to address. With every expansion added to the game, we have been increasing the complexity of running maps. It's at the point now where a player must repeatedly execute a large sequence of steps to run maps efficiently. It can be easy to forget critical steps, and it can be tiring to repeat them. To solve this, we are removing some systems, but are keeping what is good about them. The two main systems we've removed are Sextants and the Master Mission Selector. It is not our intention to dull the content, however. We have completely reworked Scarabs to include most of the options that were previously covered by those mechanics, and many, many more. Let's take a look at some of them. Commonly, you might find Scarabs that simply grant access to different content. Here, we have a Scarab that causes Beyond demons to spawn when killing monsters in your maps.
Nice.
And here, we have one that adds a Delirium mirror.
Nice.
Each type of Scarab now has multiple versions. So if you want to fully invest in a type of content, you can do so. Here's a suite of Ultimatum Scarabs. This Ultimatum Scarab adds an Ultimatum encounter to a map. This Ultimatum Scarab of bribing then causes that Ultimatum encounter to grant better rewards and its monsters to yield more experience. This Ultimatum Scarab of dueling will cause that Ultimatum encounter to always guarantee the Trial Master boss fight at the end, assuming you can survive through all the rounds. This Ultimatum Scarab of catalyzing will cause all rewards from that ultimatum to be catalysts, instead of other rewards. And finally, this Ultimatum Scarab of inscription will cause all catalyst rewards from that ultimatum to be inscribed ultimatums instead. There are plenty of others. If you enjoy divination card farming, you might want to use these. This Divination Scarab of curation causes more divination cards to drop for each different favored map you have selected. But it also causes whatever map you're running to only drop divination cards from those favored maps. So if you want to try and aim for your Mage Blood and don't want to just farm Crimson Temple, then this Scarab is for you. This Divination Scarab of completion causes your divination cards to have a 20% chance to drop as a full stack instead, for maximum dopamine. Basically, there are now just a lot of Scarabs. You might have also noticed that they no longer have tiers.
Jesus.
Scarabs are now all world drops. You can get them anywhere. Some might be rarer than others, but the intention is that there'll be a lot more options than before, and more interesting combinations to consider. If you want to target specific Scarabs, Betrayal has been updated to include most of them, and you will need to relearn which ones come from where. While this system is allowing you to heavily invest in one type of content, it is reducing your capacity for variety. To address this, we have massively increased access to content on the Atlas passive tree. You are now able to reliably get different leagues like Breach or Legion from just your Atlas passives. Regarding master missions, content such as Incursion, Delve, Betrayal, and Bestiary, these too are now accessible with Scarabs, and have more reliable investment options on the tree. Not only this, you can now get Jun, Einhar, Alva, and Nico to appear together in the same map. We have also removed some keystones such as Wandering Path, Grand Design, and Growing Hordes, but have added some new ones too. For example, Unwavering Vision, Back to Basics, and Thorough Exploration. And we have added some new notables such as Remarkable Relics, which allows you to try find better variants of Scarabs. Mounting Modifiers, which increases the values of modifiers on your maps by 2% for each explicit modifier. And Tainted Carapaces, which is just one in a set of many that allow you to target farm specific types of Scarabs. These are just a few of the many new notables that can be found on the Atlas passive skill tree. Lastly, we are giving you more flexibility in what content you want to run in the endgame. In 3.24, you can now have multiple copies of the Atlas tree, which can be swapped between maps at your leisure. You can unlock up to 2 extra trees for a total of 3 by progressing through the endgame and completing core content.
Skill tree.
When you open a map,
na jednu věc a druhý na druhou, to je tak skvělý, konečně.
For a given league, you'll never feel constrained to playing your endgame a single way. You can also label your trees to easily
OPMF
identify
strat.
which one has which content. With all this combined, we're hoping to see new endgame strategies shine through.
Okay.
While playing
Tohle je
through the
dobrý.
campaign in 3.24, you'll notice a myriad of small improvements and surprises. The fundamentals of the campaign are still intact, but we've scattered fun encounters and secrets throughout Rayclast. The Dweller of the Deep has been trapped. What are these ritual shrines doing in the northern forest? And why are they giving me omens?
What?
This device looks safe. I should definitely use this on my items.
What?
There are plenty more encounters to discover. We'll continue adding more surprises in future releases, so keep an eye out. In the previous expansion, 3.23, we released a large number of transfigured skill gems. These are alternate versions of existing skill gems that function in very different ways, allowing for more build and gameplay variety. At the time, our aspirations were higher than we could achieve. We planned more gems than we could make. So, in 3.24, we're adding another set of transfigured gems that we have now finished.
No, he transfigured
shot.
again, eh? Okay.
Incinerate, Artillery Ballista, Tornado, Elemental Hit, Kinetic Blast, Poisonous
Kinetic Blast.
Combustion, and lastly,
Okay.
Summon Holy Relic.
Oh, Holy Relic budou mít
Hopefully those
transfigured
of you
again,
who
eh?
missed your
Nice.
favorite skill having a transfigured variant will get that here. We will certainly be adding more of these in the future, especially for skills that are missing them still. Of course, we'll also be doing a balance pass on the existing transfigured gems. One of the main ones we're looking at is Kinetic Bolt of Fragmentation. As a result of this change, it is clear that the endgame potential of the Wander archetype really starts to suffer, mostly in the single target damage department. Due to this, we've added the new support gem, Sacred Wisps. This support gem causes supported skills to create 2 attached wisps for a duration. With these wisps, whenever you attack, they have a chance to also use the same skill, if you have enemies in your presence. And if there are any rare or unique enemies, they will always use the skill. That leads us into all the other quality of life features we're introducing in 3.24, and there's a shitload of them. Many of these have been revealed in teasers already, but here's a quick summary. We've added the automation and call to arms skill gems, for being able to trigger instant skills and war cries without having to bind them to left click. You can now hold down Control and left click to automatically apply certain currency orbs until they achieve the desired result, or you run out. For example, you can hold down fusings until you reach maximum links. You will be
Konečně,
able to
toto
control,
trvalo.
shift, click currency into a trade window to automatically move all of that currency at once from your inventory. Detonate Dead now has clearer telegraphing effects.
Tohle je velice dobrý. Konečně uvidíme Detonate
When
Dead.
harvest crafting, the item hover will always be visible, so you no longer have to mouse back and forth to see the results of your crafts. When you use a Val orb on a map, the map no longer has a chance to become unidentified. Instead, it adds a new implicit. We've created a set of implicits that affect the areas in fun ways. Related to that, corrupted and mirrored items can now be identified. Breach hands now open upon approach, and no longer need to be clicked.
Ale
Upgrades
opět
to
padají na
Pantheon
zem
Pals
dva
now apply to
splintery.
all characters in a league. You no longer need to grind divine vessels on each new character. With harvest crafting, you can now re-roll Uber Elder fragments.
Tohle je skvělý,
Fragments
konečně.
dropped by the Shaper cannot be re-rolled into fragments dropped by the Elder, and vice versa. Regarding Betrayal, we're removing Ashling's crafting bench as a reward. Instead, Veiled Orbs
Nový
now
mapy,
perform
tier
that function.
17.
They remove a mod
Budou.
and replace it with a Veiled
S
mod.
novýma bossama.
These orbs now drop from Katarina and are no longer a world drop. Flasks can now be corrupted by Val orbs, giving random -10 to +10 quality. The capability to add extra quality to weapons, armors, and flasks has been removed from Betrayal. The Betrayal bench craft that converts an amulet to a talisman has been moved to Bestiary, and thus can be traded. Maven invitations no longer drop. Instead, when you have completed witnessing all bosses required to go to the Maven's arena, you can just talk to Kirak, and he'll open a map device window with the invitation already
Tohle je
in
docela
there,
fajn.
ready to be rolled. Valdo's maps that granted invitations now give Scarabs. No more having to waste Guardian kills to try get invitations to drop. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs.
Today, we're launching
two new series of supporter packs, the Solar and Eldritch packs. Each tier contains the full pack's face value and points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available for the duration of the Necropolis League, and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic, and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Solar series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Cosmos weapon effect adorns your weapon with stars. Hitting enemies causes cosmic energy to spill out into the area around them. The Radiant Orb of Chance extra effect projects the outcome of items you've used an Orb of Chance on above your head. Remember to congratulate other exiles in town if you see them chance a powerful unique item.
Cool. Okay.
Shine boldly with the Solar Knight armor set. The power of the sun radiates from your body, getting more and more intense as you use skills and emitting solar flares as you run. With the Supernova level up extra effect, the dead will be raised from the ground around you, before being obliterated and turned to ash by an epic supernova whenever you level up. This one is my personal favourite. The Cosmic Turtle hideout lets you travel the infinite expanse of the cosmos atop the back of a colossal turtle. Carry the weight of the sun on your back with the Solar Guardian back attachment. Witness it grow larger and larger as the energy of slain enemies is funneled into it. When it reaches its maximum size, it goes supernova and turns into a black hole, forever drifting throughout Rayclast. The Eldritch Pack series also has 6 exclusive microtransactions. Are you wondering if we moved the stash in the latest patch? Don't be fooled, because with the Mimic Stash Pet, players can transform into an image of a stash when in a town or hideout and scare unsuspecting exiles. This pet follows behind you with its terrifying hand-walking the rest of the time. The Shaper's Slam finisher effect sends slain unique enemies into a
nice, dobrý finisher.
Unending darkness.
The Eldritch Hunger armor set contains a beast that demands you defeat it by embracing your bloodlust. Watch it grow in power the more you kill until it bursts from the shell of the helmet. Are you able to satiate its hunger? The seed within the Corrupted Growth map device expands its grasp on your hideout, the more maps you complete on your atlas. Equipping the Headhunter character effect causes skulls of slain rare enemies to whirl around you like trophies. They become enraged when you are near a rare enemy you are yet to kill, wishing for them to join your collection. Witness a reality where the struggle didn't exist, allowing the Eldritch Horrors to settle their own conflicts with the Eldritch Horror Apparition effect. Which of the Eater of Worlds or Searing Exarch do you think will win? These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console, and will remain so during Path of Exile Necropolis. Meanwhile, the Shade and Disciple packs leave the store forever at the launch of Necropolis League, so now's your last chance to purchase them. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post Path of Exile Necropolis' full patch notes. With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for Necropolis' release. Keep an eye on the news. On release weekend, we expect to launch the new Mystery Box and this season's Kerax Vault Pass. Thank you for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to doing some awesome Gravecrafts and conquering the new endgame bosses with you next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Každopádně, dámy a pánové, pojďme se na to podívat. Necropolis, base, když člověk bude chtít jenom hrát, tak to bude, myslím si, velice jako jednoduchá mechanika. Klikneš, buď to budeš ignorovat, nebo si tady přeházíš ty módy a jenom budeš mít trošku nadžusovanou každou zónu. Takže vlastně jako proč ne? No a potom tam je i jako nějaký crafting komponent podobnej bestiary, což je docela fajn. Uvidíme, co s tím všechno půjde dělat. Gems can be socketed in this item ignoring socket color? A 34% of damage taken recouped his life. OK. To jsou nový módy, který normálně nevidíš. OK. Dobře. +1 max power charge. Efekt kurzek. OK. Fine. Movement speed cannot be modified to below base value. OK. To jsem nějak jako nepodchytil, že to bude generovat broken mody na rare itemy teda. Ale OK, no. Tohle je docela cool. Wow. Speky pak se mi prostě moc peněz, nebo pokud jde ho, už takhle je to moc, že hlavně specking má limit, nepřesahuj svoje limity, znáš to. To bude fungovat podle mě, že si budeš moc rád taky, jo, no jasně, ty můžeš, jo, to prostě dáš modrej gem do zeleného soketu v tu chvíli. Ale ten mod jako doteď nebyl ve hře na rare itemy. Očividně z toho budou mega zajímavý crafting bases, takže crafteři budou mít více Magic Find minulou ligu. Uvidíme. Tohle vypadá velice zajímavě. Sice jsem si dal limit, ale ještě ani jednou jsem ho nedodržel. Ach jo. Tohle vypadá zajímavě, OK. Necropolis will 14 new unique items, 5 of which are exclusive to Necropolis League, dobře no. A nový ty Uber unikátky.
Zavináč Tom 9852, 19 měsíců s Prime subem. Vypadá to, že ještě nejsi úplně ztracený.
Přesně.
Díky za tvou přetrvávající podporu.
Tome, děkuji ti
to stojí za to.
Děkuji za Prime. A co je tohle? To zapá 100% increase life recovery from flask, mana recovery from flask, ten life recovery from flask zní jako, že to bude OP na třeba na Pathfindera s nekonečnou flaškou. 25% increase effect a všechny typy flašek dostávají charge. Nice. Tohle vypadá dobře. 15 rage after spending total of 200 mana. Rage grants cast speed instead of attack. A spell damage instead of attack damage. OK. Caster rage, nice, to je dobré. Harmless frogs. Karoi Tattoo, Splinter of Two, Val Splinters, Increased Experience, jasně, to budou ty nový mody. Tím můžeš nahrazovat paky v mapách. Face a new tier of endgame difficulty, ok, tohle mě zajímá. Tier 17 mapy tady budou, kterých budou nový bossové, silnější monstra, nějaký nový rewardy a podobně. A jenom díky těmhletěm mapám člověk bude schopný získat vlastně vstupy k Uber bossům. OK. Jak vypadají? Monstra mají +1 max power charge, mají podobné módy, trošku jako Valdo mapy možná. Monstra penetrují 15% elemental damage, OK. Nebo elemental resistu. Prakticky rychlý buffy pryč, random element. Monsters cannot be leached from, OK. 4 další projektily. To budou hodně těžké mapy tohle. Tohle budou...
Zavináč jedlo díky za 6 měsíců s Prime subem. Tvoje podpora je jako světlo ve tmě. Ceníme si každého okamžiku s tebou.
Jídlo, děkuji ti za Prime. Děkuji ti za půl roku. OK, dobře. Additional Atlas Trees, to je skvělý. Tohle jsou ty Scaraby, které jsou skvělý. Nový gemy. Tornado of Elemental Turbulence, dobře. Firecall Lightning enemies, jasně. Ice Shot of Penetration. Na tohle asi mrknem. Artillery Barista Focus Fire. Dobře. Call to Arms, jasně. Automation. V tom videu tohle je jenom ligový, že? Sermác mapy, jasně. Já chci vidět tohleto. Ty budou v těch 17kových mapách, chápu to správně. Dobře. Ještě tady někde budou mít určitě celý ten content reveal, že jo? Dlouhý, velký.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games. Welcome to our
Kde to ukázali? Tohle je ligový. Tak, počkat. Kolik je tady těch fragmentů? A který je který? Eater, Exarch, vidím Siruse asi, OK. Jedno z toho bude Maven, Shaper, Uber Elder. Není tady nic jako novýho, že? Konečně se budou Bridge otevřít sami, mě to vždycky otravovalo, jo, budou. Akorát teda furt jako na zem ti spadnou 3 splintery, no. Katarina, ale ta bude, jestli jsem to pochopil dobře, v těch 17kových mapách a nebude jakoby ten úplnej pinnacle boss. No jasně, ale ty budou v těch 17kových mapách. Ještě někde je ten filtr na to placha? Ne, nemám. Jedině, když dáš vykřičník LE filtr, tak na YouTube mám video na ty základní filtry, který používám. A já, co používám na tom Paladinovi, tak je poupravený ten základní filtr pro Sentinela, akorát konkrétně na ten můj build. Takhle 5 17 map. A třeba ten z heistu z expedice. Další dva by měly být Katarina, ta ze Sancta a poslední Heist expedice, Katarina, Sanctum. No, OK, co bylo to poslední? Jo, takže ti bossové, co nemají ubrat, tak budou v těch 17 mapách, ano. No. Hejt zmiňoval, čude. Expedice Katarina, Heist Sanctum. No a ještě jeden tam musí být. Těch map je 5. Nebo zmínili 5 map, že jo? Kde jsou zmíněný ty 17kový mapy? Bo jich bude víc? Čekat.
To the Uber Pinnacle bosses from the Atlas tree, and instead we'll be adding a new set of fragments that give you access to this content. Where do you get these fragments? We are adding a new tier of maps, Tier 17 maps, which not only give you access to the Uber Pinnacle content, but also test your characters in new ways. They feature a new set of bosses,
Okay.
Uber monsters, and a new tier of modifiers that can roll on the maps. There are 5 new Tier 17
5. OK. Na to patronizomu by to bylo překvápko. No jakože cool. Furt to není ten jako úplný jako endgame, který jsem se já upřímně představoval. A otázkou je, my jsme tady měli jsme tady predikci, která se jmenovala bude nový endgame boss Path of Exile 1. A odpovědi byly ano, bude nový boss, anebo ne, zůstanou ti 3 šašci. Já mám pocit, že zůstali ty 3 šašci, že jako máme nějaký jako nový content, ano, máme nějaký další, jako máme další bosse, ale ten endgame bude stejný. Furt budeš drtit Eatera, Exarcha a Maven. Což je smutný. Takže za mě je to ne opět. Už druhou ligu po sobě je to, na tuhle otázku je odpověď ne. Ale i tak jako hromada cool novýho kontentu, který se mi docela líbí. A pondělí nebo úterý bude končit liga? Mám pocit, že úterý dokonce. Spojený Necrospecter, s tou novou katálmou budeš moc mít 7 až 8 spekter, no to jo, ale ztrácíš ty dobrý spektry, který byly fakt dobrý. S touhle ligou. Pokud se nějak jako neobjeví nějakým způsobem zpátky. No, asi jako neobjeví, no. Doufal jsem v nějaký překopání, že jako odsunou Maven, Eatera a Exarcha bokem, furt budou dostupný, ale dají nám jako něco novýho. Technicky vzato tam není ani jeden nový boss, což je trošku škoda. Což je jako trošku škoda. Ne, že ne. A jinak to vypadá jako dobře. Všeobecně zajímavá liga. A nezmiňovali nic ohledně balancu a podobně. Jsem upřímně zvědavej dost na patch notes. Hodně. Kolik hodin budou ty patch notes? Stěnuje dneska. Měly by být potom Q&A se Zigim, tuším, že ještě dneska by měly být. Rokavice na Fortification, attack speed per Fortification plus 7 to max, melee hits from strike skill Fortify, jako nejsou asi zlí. Ale zrovna slot rukavic je až moc dobrý na to, abych si tam dal tyhle staty. Přijdou mi slabý tyhle staty na takovýhle rukavice. Zvlášť si ty dropujou z nějakého Uberbose. Jestli tam nebude roll na plus 15 nebo plus 10, no, možná, když to bude do 10 maximum fortification, tak to bude fajn, je to jako defenzivně zajímavý. Máš easy fortify, pokud budeš dávat dostatek damage a trošku attack speedu, jako oni nejsou špatní, ale rukavice zrovna dokážou být pro attack buildy extra důležitý. Myslím si, že se nebudou používat. Úplně upřímně si myslím, že se nebudou moc používat. Tohle je zajímavá helma. Nový gemy, jasně. A ještě zmiňovali nějaký ten support gem, že? Který tady není. Hele, co dělá to tornádo? Furt můžeš mít jenom jedno? Maximum 3 tornadoes, OK. 3 tornáda. Prostě budeme moct actually hrát konečně tornádo build. Dobře, to by mohlo být zajímavý. Uvidíme. Isolate of penetration. Prostě to akorát piercuje, jo. OK, dobře, to je strašně nezajímavý, ale OK. Artillery ballista focus fire. To 5 arrows at different targets. Zajímavý, OK, tohle asi budu muset vidět pořádně ve hře. Call to Arms už jsme jako viděli a Automation. Automation bude hrozně fajn. Rip left click s instantníma skillama. Ale Automation bude docela cool a mám chuť si jít zahrát Brandrico. Budu chtít možná jít hrát Brandrico. Přemýšlím, co ještě by s tím šlo jako vymyslet. Přemýšlel jsem hned, když jsem viděl Automation, jak to bude fungovat s Frostblinkem. Jestli ho to automaticky bude triggerovat a kam mě to bude portovat. Normální zázrak, já mám po roce a půl volný víkend na start ligy, no to je jenom díky tomu, že to vychází na svátky, že jo. No. OK, já chci vidět patch notes. Zajímalo by mě, jestli budeme překvapený. Kde je patch notes? Kde je patch notes? Já pracuji ve svátky normálně, já akorát ve svátky naštěstí občas držím pohotovost pracovní, ale jinak dobrý. Mám o to taká dovolenou, jsem týden, pak 3-4 bych mohl mít volno, tak se těším pěkně. No, OK, dámy a pánové. Já mám z toho takový jako je to dobrý, ale já se vlastně jako nemám v rámci toho releaseu nebo toho oznámení na co stěžovat. Ale mám pocit, že takhle málo nahypovaný jsem nebyl už hodně dlouho. Úplně upřímně. Si reálně myslím, že si vyzkouším tak 2 buildy, vyzkouším 17kový mapy nový. A bojím se, že půjdu hrát Last Epoch. Jakože... Já nevím. Jako všechno je to dobrý. Ale no. No, uvidíme, co nám ještě přinesou další teasery. Třeba uvidíme nějaký cool nový unikátky, cool balanční změny. Rád bych viděl celý ten Atlas skill tree. To může s tím taky jako zahejbat hodně, upřímně. Tam chybí nějaký cíl, proč tohle všechno hrát, kam mě to dostane. To je přesně jako ty T17 mapy možná budou zajímavý a zábavný. Ale to je přesně to, proč já bych potřeboval konečně nový bosse. Já nemám nejmenší chuť jít bojovat s Eaterem, Exarchem a Maven. Fakt jako nemám. Ani jako fakt já je nechci vidět. Já kdybych jako je nemusel zabíjet ani jako na poprví, tak je ignoruju úplně a nechci s ním ani mít nic společného. Se Zigim. Dobrá, dámy a pánové, já bych to viděl tak, že já to pro dnešek zabalím. Plán na zítřek je jasný. Koupit želvu. Děkuji Spekingu. A projít patch notes. Projít ty jednotlivé věci. Popřemýšlet, co vlastně budu chtít hrát. Aspoň trošku. A popřemýšlet, co vlastně jako budu v nový lize dělat.